Yeah, it's terrific to be here again. I recognize, I think, half of the people here at least, because I've been to Amersfoort probably more times than anywhere else I've been in Europe. So it's always terrific to come to these Vicrea events because each year it's a new and more wonderful place than the last year. So it's really nice to be here. My name's Ken Bragg. I work for Safe Software. Safe Software is based in Vancouver, in Canada. I was working there for quite a few years. Now I'm based in France, but I just work at home. So there's no Safe Software office in Europe. It's just kind of me. But, but actually, really Safe Software and FME grows in Europe thanks to our partners. And so Vicrea has hosted this event. We really do everything in Europe through our partners. So I want to start by saying thanks a lot to the team of Vicrea for hosting the event, for helping FME grow around here. Also, we have another Safe Software partner here. Where's Hans? Hans. Red Geographics is also another Safe Software partner. He's way at the back. Some of you may know Hans van der Maal. So other thing to mention, Safe doesn't really Safe doesn't really do much to support Vicrea in this event. Vicrea is doing all the work. I just show up and get all the glory, but actually, it's really thanks to Vicrea. So, what I'm going to talk about a little bit, what's new in FME 2016, FME 2016.1. Just a quick word about our philosophy. We really see that all of us get data from so many places, more places than ever before. We are trying to make that easy for you to manage the data that you have to work with. That's our goal, that's our philosophy. So we think that what we do is more important than ever because there's so many sources of data. This is a kind of a crazy slide that somebody from Esri gave us, and obviously I'm not going to go through this, but this little box here, that's spatial, that's GIS type thing. This is kind of our background, and I think most of you are coming from this place, but really we deal with data from all of these places. There's many, many sources of data, and this is the problem we're trying to solve. With FME, I think most people are aware that we're growing beyond just handling geographic CAD information. I've seen lots of presentations this year from people who work in a city who are using FME to send emails. They're using FME to report on financial information. So we're trying to support automating tasks with FME, whatever it is you need to do. So just kind of funny. So we'll come to, this kind of brings us more into the topic of today. Just to, I didn't, Gert talked about the coins. Did you guys get them already? Okay. I need to take a picture of everybody with their coin once you get them. So sorry, I didn't really get it. Did he explain the two things we can do with them? Okay, one, geocaching. How many people know about geocaching? Oh, wow, more than any place I've been yet. So it's actually popular here. Eric Jan Bodewitz, who used to work for Vicrea, was fanatical about it. So one thing you can do with your coin, register it first, then you can put it in a geocache. You can give it a goal when you register it. You can say, I want my coin to move to Vancouver, to meet me there for the user conference next year or something. And then people can find it in the geocache, they can move it, or they can just record that they found it. So that's one thing. And there's the web page for doing that. You can the coin has a code on the back, you register it, you put it in the geocache. Or you can take pictures of it with the hashtag FME coin and tweet that. That automatically enters you in a contest. And it's been really fun. So we're trying to have fun with it. So here's some of the pictures we've had so far. This is two crazy guys from Ordnance Survey, the national mapping agency in the UK. This is Francisco in Germany putting his in a geocache here. And then he tweeted that out. This is a picture I took from Leuven, Belgium, in the FME World Tour a few weeks ago. So I think, here. So here's kind of the map that's getting created as we do this. It's quite fun. So yesterday I was in Oslo. You can see that one. I tweeted a picture there. It was nice weather there too for a change. So there's But I think my favorite one so far is this one, Stonehenge, exactly. Oh, is that it? Yeah, Stonehenge. I think that's pretty cool. They took a picture of Stonehenge. So that's going to be hard to beat, right? But we're having fun with it. So far, the furthest north is this guy in Finland who came to the World Tour in Helsinki, but I expect some of the Norwegians will take it a bit further. So we're hoping you have fun with it. I'll try to get a picture of everybody with them later today. Yeah. So I'm going to talk finally into the technical details. I think a lot of people come to the World Tour to find out what's new, why they might want to install the new release. We usually break it up by formats, transformers, and then things in Workbench that are new and improved. And I'll demonstrate some of this when I'm done. So with formats, in 2016, so this was the release that came in January. This is the list of the formats. I won't go through them all. If you were at the World Tour at the zoo in Amersfoort last year, you might have seen a presentation from Aleander. They were already using our SAP HANA writer. Anybody from Aleander here today? Okay, are you guys using this at all now? Okay, so great. So they were ahead of the game on that one. The only other ones I want to mention quickly, Autodesk Recap. If you work with point clouds in almost any Autodesk product, that's the point cloud format that most Autodesk products use. AWS, you'll probably hear too much. You'll get sick of the topic of Amazon Web Services from me today, but it's not going to stop me. This is a big database, kind of like the equivalent of Oracle for Amazon that we're supporting. This transit format specification, that used to be called Google Transit format specification. Now it's been opened up, so that's General Transit Format Specification. We already have customers making web applications from transit data using this feed as the source. So this is transit authorities are pushing data out as web feeds according to this specification. So that would be the times of buses and trains. Yeah, the workspace reader is kind of a weird one. If you're an organization that has a lot of workspaces, you can get data about your workspaces with the workspace reader. So that's kind of interesting. Something that we really need to do, and we're not really there yet, but it's become really clear on the World Tour, we need some way of doing version control with workspaces. Either a way to check it into GitHub or SVN or some way to manage a lot of workspaces and versions. How many people are running into a challenge with that already? Yeah. So this is an early step in that direction. Hopefully next year we'll have made some progress in that area. More and more organizations doing a lot of things with FME are having challenges with the versioning of workspaces. In 2016.1, the release that just came out about 10 days ago, supporting more of these NoSQL databases, MongoDB, a lot of people asked us about that. Elasticsearch is a database you may not have heard of, but if you're using a web application and you start typing something in a search box and you get the answer really quick, okay, if it's Google, that's Google doing that. But a lot of web applications, very high-speed searching is driven by this Elasticsearch database. Kibana is an open source dashboard and reporting tool, and it has Elasticsearch behind it. Somebody from the Norwegian Geological Survey was using that already yesterday. So that one's kind of interesting. Tableau is software that's becoming very popular, again, for dashboards and reporting. We have Tableau customers that want to use FME to compile data for this Tableau application. Cesium, a 3D platform that's kind of doing what Google Earth did, so spherical map, allowing you to put 3D information on that. Lots of companies building applications on top of this platform. FME makes it possible to write 3D buildings into that. And we had a presentation in Belgium from our partner there already of writing 3D buildings into a Cesium application using FME. Sentinel-1 and 2 satellites, have people heard of these already? Sentinel, just one or two. This is European Space Agency program. There are 2 constellations of satellites that should be giving, at this latitude, coverage about every 1 or 2 days. So Sentinel-1 is, I think, a radar sat. Sentinel-2 is a multispectral scanner. So for looking at land use changes, this is kind of an interesting one. So FME can read from that now. Apple venue format. Anybody from the airport here today? No, we may see them later, but I'll come to that in a sec. So this is Tableau. It's not FME, but FME can send data into this application, and Tableau is a very powerful dashboarding and reporting tools. There seems to be a growing number of tools arising to do this kind of thing, reporting, dashboard type stuff. We're trying to support that with FME. The Apple venue format, this is maybe looking a little bit ahead to the future. FME can write this now. The purpose of it is so that your iPhone, the map on your iPhone works in a building. Big buildings, this is kind of intended for airports, shopping centers. The idea is if the airport is an FME customer, they are, they can prepare the map data for the airport, submit it to Apple, then everybody's Apple device, the map application, will have the indoor map as well. So it's just part of the move to support indoor mapping, and this is the Apple's format that they're doing for that. Probably the Android, well, I'm sure the Android has other format that it will be using. We'll have to see what happens there. Yeah, so any questions about the formats? I always go through these quickly because there's a lot, right? I'm not going to talk about. And some of them I've never heard of myself. For example, the Japanese land numerical info format, I have no idea, so don't ask about that one. So when it comes to transformers, the first two, I think it highlights them here. Yeah, the first two, these really will change how you work with FME, we're pretty sure. There's already a lot of transformers for dealing with attributes. The attribute renamer, the attribute setter, the parameter fetcher, am I missing any? Attribute creator. All of that functionality should be rolled into this now. It isn't actually completely, but pretty close. So we're hoping that anything you do with attributes, renaming, managing, setting, splitting, concatenating, arithmetic, mathematical operations, you should be able to do it all in a single transformer now. So I've seen workspaces during the world tour, you'll see an area where there's 5, 6 transformers that I know for sure can be rolled into that one. So we'll look at that later. And the other one, the attribute validator, and this one is really important because we know a lot of you use FME to do quality control and to do validation of data. And these workspaces tend to get really big and complicated. To check, is the value within a range? You need a tester. To check, is it a certain data type? That was actually quite hard to do before. To check if it has value. How many people have used does the value equal empty quote? Yeah, isn't that frustrating? So this replaces that. We'll see it, there's a test just for has value. So this kind of validation workflow should become way easier with that. You still need the geometry validator to check geometry, so that will remain separate, but this should cover a lot of that. The other one I'm going to highlight here just for now, the feature writer. This is another one that is really going to change things, and I would say we don't even really know how yet. But this is a transformer that lets you write data in the middle of a workspace. So why is this important? Because then you can do things in the workspace with transformers after the data is written, right? In the past, we had to use shutdown scripts to do things when you knew for sure the data is written. Now, I'll show this later. With a feature writer, you could write your shapefiles. Then you could use the new emailer transformer to email what you've written without using 2 workspaces and without using a script. There's all kinds of things that this makes possible. So I really think once you get used to the idea of it. So now we could have a workspace with no reader or writer, right? You can have a workspace with a feature reader and then a workspace with a feature writer. So it's kind of weird, but who was asking me, we were just talking about Dropbox. Yeah, we were just talking about Dropbox before that started. So we're trying really hard to support web services in FME. And this became possible because we can support OAuth 2 authentication now in FME. So you can connect to Facebook. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can. But Dropbox is, a lot of organizations, our company has the corporate Dropbox account. We use it heavily. So you can read data out of Dropbox or write it there. Emailer transformer, one we should have done a long time ago, but now we do have it. So that's quite powerful. And then these two transformers that make web pages, basically. HTML report generator and HTML layouter. I'll demonstrate those, so I won't talk about them too much. R, the statistical package R. Can I just, how many people know about this one? A lot, yeah. So statistics calculator in FME is okay, but if you're doing science work or complex statistics or calculations, R is a well-known package for doing that. So this is a transformer you can put in FME. You still have to write the R code. I don't know how to do that, but some of you maybe do. So similar to the Python caller, you can access R and FME, and we ship the R libraries that are needed for that. So they're in the installer. I think I'll just leave the other two. Temp path name creator. I'm trying to think if I'm covering this later. No, I will explain it. If you want to create a file path in a workspace, that FME will clean up when it's done. So it's a temporary path. This transformer will let you do that. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you're using the feature writer to put some data somewhere and then email it, you don't need it anymore. So you use this transformer to create a file path, write the data there with the feature writer, then FME will automatically clean it up. This has other uses too, but it's to get FME to clean up after itself. Any questions about those? Yeah? All right. I just need to see how I am for time. How am I for time? 15, perfect, okay. So some things in Workbench that we think you're gonna like. It looks nicer. You always try to make it look nicer. That's yeah, whatever. But this is cool. For a long time, people have wanted this idea of junctions, to just be able to connect stuff up and don't do anything. You could do that already with what transformer?
Yeah, I use custom transformer and make a group transformer that only puts through only.
That's smart. A custom transformer with groups, yeah, to do the same thing. Yeah. And the sampler could also have been used just if you don't want to do anything. So it's always been like a challenge. So this just connects things together. That's all it's for. And then the other one, don't read that. It's just a part from Alice in Wonderland. You know, she goes down a hole. Or no, the rabbit goes down a hole. I forget. And then it pops up somewhere else. But this is the idea now that we can have like a wormhole. And then it comes out here. And we've been joking about that a bit, that if you drink too much and use this, you're going to create a workspace that's very hard to understand. So, actually, the way it's implemented, it's just a hidden connection. That's all it is. So if you move that one, I'll show it, you'll see a dotted line. So it's actually quite simple the way it was done. And people really like this. This I'll show in a minute. We can navigate through bookmarks. This helps me more than you probably. This is more intended for demos. This is huge, I think. Minor, but it drives everybody crazy. Sometimes you have to have cross lines because of where the ports are. So you can reorder the ports and not have cross lines anymore. And that always gets a smile for some reason. See, people love that. It's like a minor thing, right? That probably took the developer, I don't know how long it took them, and it wasn't like a big project, right? And it's done. The top right, this actually comes to a challenge in FME about controlling the order that things happen in. It's always been a bit of a problem. Now, if you have two creators, you can say which one will run first. So that would let you run maybe a SQL executor to do something in the database before you do something else, for example. Or any transformer that has multiple ports leaving it, you can change the order which port will go first. So lots of reasons for doing that, but I won't get into it too much. Fan out has become a little bit simpler. We're giving you help with regular expressions. So anywhere where regular expressions show up, this is to do string matching. You can actually enter a little test string and you get some help down here, so that should help with that. There's good websites for that too, but that should be useful. Another one that's helped me in demos already in the World Tour, if I make a mistake, and I might make a mistake now, features that are rejected by a transformer for whatever reason, like the area builder and you send a point, right? What's the example here? I don't know. But area builder, if you send a point, it would get rejected. Now, whenever things get rejected, you can actually click on that and look at it in the data inspector to see why. This was something that got asked quite a bit. It helps me in demos when I make a mistake, right? Yeah. Yeah. The data inspector, just a few things. You can one click now to inspect either a source or a destination. And then some of the symbology has finally been improved. Yesterday, somebody, right in the middle of a presentation, they said, I can't symbolize points differently in FME. It drives me crazy. And you can now in FME 2016.1. So yeah, so I think I won't cover that in too much detail. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of a demonstration. I think I'm going to have to put the microphone down to do this. How do I turn, or you can turn off? Okay, thanks. I'll try to project to the back of the room. What I want to create, actually I'll just open this. I think I can open this right now. I'm going to create something like this with FME. This is a web page that shows air quality levels. I'm not going to do this top part. I'll do a simpler version of it. So this is air quality levels measured in particulate matter, 2.5 microns in size or smaller. So there's lots of sensors that measure air quality. This is the little stuff that's not so good for you. You probably can't read that, but that's all the cities in the FME World Tour, live data really. And in fact, the really high ones are all either China or India. So there's air quality problems there. The only one I noticed that wasn't in China or India that was relatively high was Winnipeg, Manitoba. So that's so bad now. I don't know why. Forest fires actually probably. But we're going to make this for here with some sensors in this area. We're going to make this table and we're going to make this web map. And we're going to do this in FME and we're going to make a real website out of it. That's the goal. Okay, so I mentioned I can walk through bookmarks. I use bookmarks to walk me through this. And actually what I'm going to do is go to first step here. Just want to get a point for where we are in Amersfoort. I already have a published parameter. This is a shapefile, all the World Tour cities. I just want to pick out where we are right now. And I already have a published parameter for Amersfoort. So I just need to test. This is really simple stuff. City equals the published parameter for our location. Then I'm going to buffer. So within an area around here, because that's a point, find all the air quality sensors. So I'll use the geographic buffer, because that was latitude and longitude. A lot of transformers now have geographic versions so that you can measure in kilometers something that's latitude and longitude. Now 50 kilometers from here, Netherlands is dense. It's going to cover a lot of area, but that's okay. I'll just leave it like that. I'm going to read from a web service the air quality. And this is something that I mentioned at the beginning. We're trying to help you read from web services as much as possible with FME. So I'm going to grab the URL to this. I'll just close that. And I'm going to use the JSON reader. So any file reader can read from a URL. That's just how we support web services. Can you guys hear me in the back? Or okay. Now, one nice way to do this, so I don't use too much of Wilco's data, is if I use the creator and the feature reader, the feature reader, which is feature reader. Then I can still read JSON, so I still read from the same URL, but I can cache it. So FME reads it once to get the schema, reads it once to get the data, and then it will cache it on my disk. So every time I test this, it won't read from the web service again. So it is reading live the first time. It's, whether it's up to the minute doesn't really matter. So I'll do that. So we're reading the web service now to get the schema. The JSON reader has an auto schema scan mode, so it's getting the schema dynamically, I guess we could say. I don't have to enter a JSON query. This is taking a second here. Actually, I have a file version of this if it takes too long. Then I'm going to create a point for each sensor, use the spatial filter to figure out which points are inside my buffer. There we go. Okay, so vertex creator to create points. X is longitude. I always have to do that. I think probably everybody does that. Apparently in Norway, they use reverse coordinates sometimes, so it's even worse for them. So there's got a little point now for each sensor, and I'll just use the spatial filter to get the air quality sensor locations within 50 kilometers of here. So here already I can use this reorder. See, it's crossing. I don't like that. Move up. Nice. Okay, now we're going to get into the fun stuff. I'm going to use this HTML reporter to make a web page. And this is really the powerful transformer here. HTML report generator. All right. 5 minutes. Woo-hoo. Okay. So what do I need here? I need a header with the title, air quality. And I'm going to make a table. So I'm going to make a table with all of this stuff in it. So I didn't type that in yet, so it's still red. So this will make an HTML table. And in this table, I'm going to put the city. Where'd it go? There's two. There it is. Thank you. I need to give it a name. The AQI is the air quality measure. So that's the level. The pollutant is which one it is. Pollutant. And then we've got time. So that's the date and time. Okay. So then if you remember in that example I showed, we had the table, then we needed a web map. This is pretty powerful. I can just say, I can choose a map type. This will make it the type leaflet.js. So when we write this HTML page, we're going to put some leaflet.js JavaScript code to make a web map. And we can include the points that we sent to it. FME will turn them into JSON and put them into the web map. And I'll label them with this city field. Okay? So I can preview here. There's not much to see yet because the data didn't go, but I previewed the page that I'm making. It's at 0, 0 because it doesn't know where we are yet. But that's the idea there. And I think I'm just going to skip a step because I'm going to run out of time, but that's okay. I'll use this new feature writer. So that's rewrite feature writer. I'm going to write this HTML file in a new format called HTML. This is really just text. I had a published parameter already where to write it. So I'm writing it onto my disk. That's all I really need to do there now. So this new transformer, you choose the format, the data set parameters like you would when you add a writer. But then down here, it's like the feature type area, right? So this is kind of a weird format because it's just the HTML data, that's it. Okay, so I'll do that. And then I'm going to upload the file. So I've written it once I run this. Actually, I could run it right now. This is where I actually use this junction a lot, just to see if something went there. It's kind of a funny way to use it. I'll run this while I'm talking. And I'm going to upload that HTML file to S3, to the Amazon web place, so that it's a real website. Okay? So this would make a web page that would just be on my computer, but I want it to be a real website on the internet. So I'll use the S3 uploader. Okay, so that wrote. Let's just see if we have this here while we're here. Okay, so there it is. It's on my disk now. So far, so good. Here's the web map. You can see the levels aren't too bad, except for a place called Jagerspad. Lauren, where's that? This one here. Is it wrong? Lan. Wherever that is not. I'm not sure you want to. It's right in the middle.
Right of the two in the middle.
Up here. Left.
Right to the left. Southeast of Amsterdam.
Southeast of Amsterdam, like here. Okay. Hilversum. There. That's it. Okay. For some reason, could be where the sensor is, right? You know, it might be under a busy road or something, but. Okay. So last step. How am I doing? 2 minutes, okay. Upload it to S3. Notice how this is all filled out already because you can save your transformer defaults. So for a transformer like this, I don't want to fill in my S3 keys every single time. So this transformer will upload that file. I had a published parameter already for where the file was, so that's good. The content type is HTML text. The bucket name, that's my Amazon S3 bucket. The file name, this is Amazon S3 calls it a key, but it's, in a sense you could think of it as a path to the file. So this will make like a folder kind of, and then it'll make a file named air quality, and then dynamically it will add in the location, because we had that already as a published parameter, .html. And what will come out is, and I'll just put a logger here, what will come out of this transformer is a URL to that object that I uploaded. So that will be my web page address. And that should just happen on its own. See, it reads a little faster now because the data was cached from the web service. And it came out the right port, so that's looking pretty promising. Here's the logger showed the URL that Amazon created. And that's it. I have a real web page. This is HTTPS Amazon blah, blah, blah. But this will work anywhere now. So it's on the internet. So just in the time I was talking to you, I made a web map. So it's quite powerful. Can write it also to Dropbox. I think I have a link. Yeah, sort of running out of time. But Dropbox connector, I could do the same thing. The Dropbox connector can give you a URL for the direct download. That would work just like a web page too. So I think that covers, I think I'm finishing kind of just on time. Just trying to decide what to do with my 30 seconds remaining. 0, okay. Yeah, that's what's new in FME 2016. Thank you.